Hey everybody, my name is Steven and welcome back to the Storytime channel. Without wasting any time, let's get into our stories of the day. If you wanted a break on rent, you shouldn't have broken the lease and ignored me when I asked you to stop. My house is a 130-year-old 3-unit. I live on the first floor and have 2 apartments that I rent out upstairs. My lease has a standard section in it which explicitly bans the use of any sort of exercise equipment because my first tenant had a treadmill and she not only destroyed the vintage parquet floor below it, but also caused the plaster ceilings directly below in my apartment to crack and have to be replaced. It is also unbearably loud and shakes the entire house. A new tenant moved in at the beginning of February. We went over each part of the lease together because this isn't my first rodeo. Everything is fine for the month of February, and right before quarantine was instated in our state mid-March, she gets a treadmill. I nicely remind her that it's against the terms of her lease and it either needs to leave or cannot be used. She ignores me. Every day for 2 hours, she runs on the dang thing. I send a formal letter. The 1st of April rolls around and rent is due. I get it, times are tough, so I give my non-treadmilling tenant a full break on the rent for that month. I do not plan on giving treadmilling tenant a break because she's actively destroying my house. On the 5th, she catches me in the hallway and asks if I can do anything for her regarding the balance. It took all of my willpower to not laugh in her face. I just said, when I asked you to do something for me, you ignored me, so at this point I can't give you a break at all, like I would have otherwise because I'm going to need that money to fix the damage you are causing. I haven't heard the treadmill since. That would definitely frustrate me. If you were OP and you were renting this place out, what would you do about the treadmilling tenant? Let me know in the comments below. Sniffin Things. Years ago when I got married, my dad gave me my grandmother's wedding ring to give to my wife. At the reception, the ladies were admiring my wife's ring when my aunt, who's known to be a class AC, my dad's sister, saw my wife's wedding ring and became visibly upset. She grabbed her things quietly and left the reception. Of course, we all noticed. When I asked my dad about it later on, he told me the following story. Your aunt was a spoiled brat. She treated my parents terribly. She ostracized herself from the family because she wanted nothing to do with us. She felt that my parents owed her everything and anything that they could give to her in regards to money and support. My parents were great people. Her problem was that years ago my mother refused to buy her a new car, even though my sister could afford it. My parents offered to buy her a used refurbished car, but my sister's argument was that there's nothing like the real thing. There was a big family argument where she cursed them out and she abandoned the family for around 10 years. Years later, as my mother started to become ill, my sister wouldn't visit her once. Towards the end, where we knew she had little chance of living or going on, my sister suddenly showed up. One night while going to the bathroom, I heard a noise in my mom's bedroom, and there was my sister trying on my mom's rings. One of them was my mom's wedding band that she had always wanted. When I asked my mom later about it, she said that my sister had always wanted that ring, but my mother didn't want her to have it because she knew that deep down she was still a spoiled, nasty person, and she felt that a ring that was given to her out of love should go to someone else out of love, and the only person she could think of was her grandson. She wanted that ring to go to her grandson's new wife when he got married down the road. My dad then proceeded to tell me that he borrowed the wedding ring and took it to a jeweler friend of his. They were buddies since high school. He asked his friend if he could make an exact duplicate of that ring, but with cubic zirconia and fake stones that go with it. When my mother passed away, my dad went to her room and exchanged the ring for the real one. He said, "I knew the idiot would come sniffing." Sure enough, the same day that my grandmother died, my aunt made some excuse to come over to her house, saying that she left something there. My dad swung by later, and when he looked in the jewelry box, the ring was missing. Fine. On the day of the wedding, after my aunt saw my wife's new ring as she was walking back to her table, my dad whispered to her, "I hope you enjoyed your fake ring. There's nothing like the real thing, huh?" Such a beautifully planned revenge on this evil aunt. I have a lot of respect for OP's father in this situation. You make noise until 3 a.m. I have to clean up at 8 a.m. So we have been in quarantine for almost 2.5 months now. Our upstairs neighbor are a couple with their 3 children, 14-year-old male, 12-year-old female, 7-year-old male. I guess their ages, but it is close. The apartments here are 2 bedrooms and around 80 square meters, so not a lot of space. We tried to be understanding and everything was fine until their brother-in-law and sister-in-law moved in next to them before quarantine. Every night for almost a month, they would get together and we actually hear "woo" and laughter and other party sounds until 3 a.m. The schools are closed, so the kids are allowed to be up, I guess. I, on the other hand, want my 4-year-old sleeping at 9 p.m. like usual. We tried telling them nicely. We tried going away for a few days just to be able to sleep. My kid is always up at 7 a.m. We tried earplugs. Nope, nothing worked. They were up until 3 a.m. and would sleep until 12 p.m. every day. Finally, I had enough. I got my vacuum cleaner at 8 in the morning and started vacuuming my ceiling and my chiller air duct, which goes through their walls. Not an unreasonable loud sound since. Sometimes you gotta dish it back a little bit before they realize it. Petty revenge in the office. At my work, we work in cubicles that are not assigned to specific persons, except for managers. That is because we work around the clock and there are around 40 cubicles and 50 people. As they do not all work at the same time, there is no problem. Although sometimes an issue of someone not cleaning the desk after work arises. Anyhow, I work the night shift and for the most part I am alone in the office. I have chosen the desk that I like and have been working there for a few weeks, just after we changed the floor, before a coworker decided that the cubicle is hers and put a stick-it note with her name. Some do that, but it is not considered nice as we do not have assigned desks. So normally that would not be an issue because the desk is empty most of the time. The issue was that she had the audacity to take the things of other people, mine included, and throw them on the windowsill, leaving only hers on the desk. What the heck? It is not your desk to take. Use it, but don't be a duck about it. So I return my things to the desk and continue working. My petty revenge consists of a few things. 1. Each time I finish work, I restart the PC, and each time it tells me that there are other people logged on, do you really want to continue? I click yes. So satisfying each time. 2. Sometimes I take my sweet time in the mornings before finishing work, as I know that she is forced to start working at another desk waiting for me to leave. I do like overtime during those days. 3. After several weeks of working like that, I took her stick-it note with her name and ripped it to pieces. The pieces I put in my backpack in order to get rid of the evidence outside work. No new post-it. 4. I constantly change chair height and width. I am quite small, so it is justified. Sometimes I would even change chairs just to confuse her. I probably shouldn't be proud of all that. Sometimes people just upset you overall, and sometimes the best fix is just a few small, somewhat petty things that just kind of appeal to your satisfaction. The phone never got answered. Back in the old days when cord phones worked differently, I lived in an apartment with thin walls and had a neighbor who would always bang music all night. Asked him to stop a few times, told me to freak off. I'd bang on the wall and he would just turn it up. Finally, one day I was leaving town for 4 days. Went to work and called my apartment, which had a ring wall phone. Ring turned up loudest. I also had put up a cardboard wall to reflect the sound back against the wall. Put the phone earpiece down on my desk and locked the door. The phone rang non-stop for 4.5 days. When I got home, there were 2 messages on my door from him, one from the manager about complaints. The noise stopped. And on the other end of the spectrum, unlike the last story, some people need a real taste of their own medicine before it sinks in. Want to dump your trash on my 71-year-old mother's lawn? Okay, just don't be surprised when you get a cleaning bill from the city. With all this virus stuff going around, I wanted to share something my mom found on her front lawn a few days ago. Some jerk decided to make my mom's front lawn his new garbage bin. There was like 3 to 4 bags of household trash strewed across her driveway and into our neighbor's yard and driveway too. I know, gross, right? Lucky for her, she looked through some of the bags for a bill because if she got sick, she wanted to let the hospital bill go to them, and she found he had left all of his personal information inside the bags. Like bills, credit card numbers, phone numbers. Just saying, if you have no problem dumping your garbage on a 71 years front lawn for her to clean up, don't be surprised when you get the cleaning bill from the city. My mom is calling the city tomorrow for them to fine him, As far as I know, our city fines for dumping start at $500 and go up. P.S. Just to make clear, 1, on mobile, and 2, garbage pickup was Thursday. The garbage was there Good Friday. Also, I do want to mention something even I forgot about because it was late when I typed it out. But my mom's house is owned by the city and she rents from them, so technically the man who did this would be dumping on city property and might be facing a bigger fine for it. Edit 2. Update. So after today of my phone blowing up while working, I come home and sit my butt at home and talk to my mom. My dad did call the city, and they are going to get their bylaw office to look into it tomorrow because my dad called late. He sent the address from one of the guy's bills and see if this guy had done this before. As far as we know, they will be fined. Thank you for all your ideas about making more things petty. However, my mom is not that cynical. Sorry. Kudos to them for diving through the trash and finding the personal information. I might have been petty enough to do the same, as long as I could identify that there's not like pure sewage in these bags or anything, and try and do a similar thing where I call some kind of official. I am Mr. Brightside. My jabroni neighbors were blasting their terrible, garbled electronic music for the whole complex to hear this afternoon when I got home from work. My balcony sanctuary was ruined. I heard other neighbors through their windows complain loudly about the louder music. I was angry, briefly, and then realized we have better speakers. Great big old 70s floor speakers that vibrate the room. So I put on Mr. Brightside and cranked it to 11. I stuck my head out the window. It didn't work, but all I could hear inside was Mr. Brightside. And you just can't be mad when listening to that song, or singing along, with pride. I think it was my singing that worked. It's quiet out here now and so peaceful. I silenced them with Mr. Brightside. I am Mr. Brightside. 'Cause I'm Mr. Brightside. Okay, alright. Next story. Enjoy your damp clothes, bro. This happened a couple hours ago. The shared laundry room in my apartment building has 4 washers and 4 dryers. There's signs on every wall about etiquette. Be prompt removing your laundry. But also, give people 10 to 15 minutes after their cycle ends before removing their laundry. The dryer cycle is 56 minutes long. Sorry for my European friends, I don't know how to convert that to metric. I have a timer saved on my Apple Watch for 55 minutes. I start the timer, 55 minutes, as soon as the dryer starts, 56 minutes. This gives me enough time to slip on my shoes, grab my keys, and take the elevator to the basement. Usually the dryer is still on its last couple of spins when I arrive. Today, however, I noticed that I've got a few minutes left and I need to take the trash out. As I'm walking by the laundry room to the trash, I see some dude in there loading stuff into a dryer. My alarm still hasn't gone off. Okay, social distancing is in full effect. I'll hang out between the trash area and the laundry room, so I give him plenty of room to get from the laundry room to the elevator. Our paths never crossing. He heads away from me to the elevators. I head into the laundry room with 2 minutes left on my countdown timer. But my laundry is on top of the dryer. The dryer is running. What did I say the max time was? 56 minutes. The timer reads 58 minutes. The only way to get to 58 minutes is to add $2 in quarters while my load is still spinning. At first, I was just going to open the door and leave it ajar, which I technically did. It was a ton of towels. I walked away, door open. I thought better of it. I went back and restarted his dryer. On delicate cycle instead of high. Enjoy your soggy towels, dude. I'm sorry, the one thing I'm focused on this entire thing is he said he can't convert the time for European friends. You don't have to convert time for European people. Time is universal. But with that being said, that's all the stories we have for today. So what I want to know is which of these stories was your personal favorite and why? Let me know in the comments below. And thank you all so much for watching and listening to the Storytime channel. If you haven't yet, please consider subscribing and don't forget to turn notifications on so you'll never miss an upcoming video. Thank you all again for watching and listening to the Storytime channel.